Hello, we'll be discussing today about MySQL architecture. MySQL, it's a most popular open source database. There'll be many reasons for MySQL's popularity, but the main reason for it is its architecture. Uh, Coming to the architecture, it's a client server architecture, uh, and it has three different components: application layer, MySQL server layer, and storage layer. In the application layer, this is the topmost layer in MySQL architecture, and you can see the same layer in many of the client server architectures. And this application layer consists of three major components, which has connection handling, authentication, and security. Uh, Connection handling. Coming to connection handling, when a client connects to server, the client gets its own thread for its connection. All the queries from the client executed within the specified thread. Okay. And the thread is cached by server. So they don't need to create and destroy for each new connection. So you can use the same thread. Authentication. And uh, before that, like when the client can connect to the MySQL server using JDBC connection, ODBC, .NET, PHP, Python, Perl, C, as depend upon like the user what he's working upon. Okay. And authentication when the client connects to MySQL server, the server performs the authentication in the server side, and the authentication is based on the username, host of the client, and password of the client user. Security, once as the client gets connected successfully to the MySQL server, the server will check whether the particular client has the privileges to issue certain queries against MySQL server. So that's all in the application layer. Coming to MySQL server layer. So this is like the heart of the MySQL server. This layer of the MySQL is divided into various sub components such as MySQL services and utilities, SQL interface, parser, optimizer, caches, and as well as buffer something. Okay, coming to services and utilities within the MySQL layer. So this services and utilities, this services and utilities provides the services and utilities for administration and maintenance of MySQL, such as backup and recovery, security, replication, clustering, partitioning. So this is going to handle all the admin tasks related to that. Coming to SQL interface. So a query language, basically the query language used by MySQL. So this is going to provide those things, and like all the DML, DDL, like whatever we create stored procedures and triggers views is handled by this interface. Uh, Coming to parser requires to create internal structure called the parse tree. So the parse tree is created within the parser, behave as a single parse compiler, and the past once parser is done, like we have another like the optimizer. Once after creating the internal parse tree, MySQL applies a variety of optimization techniques here in the optimizer. So the techniques may include or scanning of the tables, choosing the right indexes, and rewriting the query can be done here, like uh, sort of like right here. Okay, caches. So MySQL Server cache, query cache, stores compiled real sets of select statements in this section. Even before passing the query, the MySQL Server consults the query cache. Uh, if any client issues a query that is identical to one already in the cache, the server simply skips the parsing optimization, and even execution. It just simply displays the output from the cache here. So the next comes the storage engine. So the pluggable storage engine. This is the uh, like unique feature of the MySQL. So there are multiple storage engines in MySQL Server, such as MyISAM, InnoDB, Federated DB, Black Hole DB, CSV, memory, archive, and performance schema. So depending upon the requirement of the developer or the user, he can just plug and remove the database as per his need. The until 5, like in the previous version of MySQL Server 5.1 and 5.5, like the default storage engine was MySQL. Coming to 5.7, 5.5 and 5.7 later, so InnoDB uh, is like the default storage engine, and it is like the relational engine. So allows you to choose variety of storage engines for different situations and requirements. So this is what the storage engine is. And the last, or whatever the data is there, like it is going to be stored in the file system. So this is the file system. Like you can use as NFTA, NTFS, SAN, NAS, whatever the SANs, and all the logs will be storing in the file system. That's all from this session. Thank you.